I'm fourth generation here on our family dairy, Beretta Family Farms.
You got to wake up early in the morning, you got to come to work every day.
Kids think that they really think they want to be a vet until it comes down to it, and then they don't actually really want to do it. And I think that it's okay.
Well, there's not an egg shop, there's not a farm that doesn't have a welder.
The best part about my job is really helping people.
My educational background is on-the-job training.
California agriculture drives the state's economy, grossing over $500 billion a year. From logging and fishing on the North Coast to the lush landscapes and nursery crops of Southern California, agriculture encompasses more than just the farmer. Through this series, you will be introduced to the unsung heroes of the agriculture industry. Agriculture education is cultivating careers. This episode, Horticulture.
All right, I am Chris Nevy, and this is Nevy Brothers. I am part owner and in charge of sales and warehouse management here. I've been doing this all my life, but as an occupation, solidly since about 2005, to be about 15 years now. My educational background is on-the-job training. High school, worked all the way through it, and then some at the JC, and then everything else I learned here. As somebody once told me, I learned how to read and do math in school, and everything else I learned by experience. So my grandfather, Johnny, and grandmother and my dad immigrated here from Italy in the 50s, and they settled in Daly City, just south of San Francisco. And at that point in time, there was a fairly good cut flower and greenhouse nurse business in the area. So a lot of the immigrants settled in that. There was a lot of Italian Americans involved in that part of business, and they were growing products and selling them down into the San Francisco flower market. So my grandfather got started doing that, along with my great-grandfather and my great uncle. And in the 1960s, my grandfather bought some land up here in Petaluma and started growing products for himself rather than working for wholesalers and people doing the growing. So we've been up here in Petaluma since the 60s. The original nursery located down the road, that closed down. I forget the year, but my dad and my uncle started Nevy Brothers in 1985. And we've been here ever since. It's now me, my brother, and my dad who own and run Nevy Brothers. So part of the main part of my job, broadly, it's warehouse and facilities management. In terms of, I'm in charge of orders in, orders out, making sure the customers get what they want. Customers call with questions, trucks leave on time, product comes in on time, everything is processed accordingly, stuff going to grocery stores, everything's timed out and done in that center. So, sales manager, yeah. Warehouse manager, yeah. It all falls under my thing. My brother, who does most of the growing, so he's going to spend most of his time in here, taking care of the plants, taking care of the growing operations, make sure that the nutrients right, plants are getting cut right, this is good, that's good, everything's right. And then everything comes into the warehouse to me, and then I need to make sure that it's going to the proper locations, everybody's happy with their product, prices are set, et cetera, et cetera. Everything from, sales to, the office management. Yeah, including us, we got about 30 employees, and so, you got everything from the lowest rung on the totem pole, which is somebody who's going to be primarily a laborer doing, plant extraction if we're pulling plants out and replanting stuff new, and, filling buckets with dirt, hauling stuff around, up to the cutters who, all these have to be cut every single day. So they got to walk down each and every single one of these benches and cut a flower at a cut stage, take them up, put them in water. From there, they go into the packing shed. From there, my guys inside the packing shed are bunching to order. They're filling orders. They're wrapping stuff up, getting stuff ready for tomorrow, separating certain varieties that were sold out of, yada, yada, yada. And then, typically the greenhouse crew is also your maintenance crew. So your guys doing the maintenance on the greenhouses, fixing broken things, fixing irrigation, plant maintenance, weeding, bending, pinching, disbudding, all that stuff, spraying apical, pesticides and chemicals when that's needed. It all falls under there too. So there's a plethora of jobs. anybody knows who's worked on a ranch or done anything in agriculture, I mean, you don't have a IT guy and a maintenance guy and a this guy. It's, you know, more times than not, any one of our guys can fix pipe, can do a lot of different things that we ask them to do. Some of them have specialty kind of areas where they do the same thing all the time, but a lot of people are accomplished in doing all of it too. A lot of it is word of mouth from the people who work here. We have a lot of people who worked here a long time. Some of them work for my grandfather, who are still here. So, you know, we like to keep, I don't know if a family type atmosphere is the right word to do it. We like to take care of our employees. We think we have a good place to work where it's a nice environment that, you know, the people who've worked here for that long, they definitely enjoy what they do, right? And then there's kind of a younger generation in behind them, and they enjoy it too, and they have lots of family and relatives and friends who they've brought along as well. So it's hard. There's not a whole lot of, you know, you aren't going to find like Craigslist ads for agricultural workers. It's long hours, it's hard work, but that's what we're here for, and it's enjoyable. We're outside, we're dealing with plants and beauty and stuff like that, and you know, it's not for the faint of heart, but you know, we enjoy it, they enjoy it. So in terms of finding employees, you know, if you tell a couple people you're looking for somebody, normally they might know somebody who's also looking for somebody. But you know, I think anybody in agriculture could tell you that unless it's an office job, you can't really, there's no real kind of job listing avenue for that type of work. My main task every single day is getting my delivery trucks out on time with the right product, the right things. Everybody's gone, so my customers are getting their product, you know, in a timely fashion, the right stuff, everybody's happy. And then our location in the San Francisco flower market, that they're getting supplied with their orders, the people get what they need, and there's also stuff for open sales on there. Those are two things that happen daily that that's 1A and 1B of what my job has to get done. Like those two things have to get done paramount. Then everything else, you know, I could be, you know, fixing pipe and helping a guy doing some welding. I can be on the tractor prepping out some fields. We could be slammed during a holiday and it's all just, you know, dealing with orders, paperwork, orders in, orders out, you know, sort of a thing. So it varies a little bit, but those first two items, making sure that, you know, the sales and the orders are going out and it's a job well done, that's paramount. That's every day. No, so we're different in the sense that a lot of, okay, it's kind of weird. So the cut flower industry as a whole is almost like, think of like a tomato grower or a corn grower in the valley, right? They're not selling you your corn that you're putting on your table, right? They're selling it to somebody bigger who's then, you know, selling it to NorCal. NorCal sends it to a grocery store, and et cetera, et cetera. A lot in the flower industry is done that way too. So there's, you know, places in Watsonville that are 1 million square feet operations, and they're producing a lot of roses, and they put them in boxes. They send them to Missouri and in Chicago and Detroit, and they're sending them all over the place. Well, the San Francisco flower market was made as a hub for people who were growing stuff to be able to sell their product directly into the system where it was going to go, to the florist, to the trade. Wholesalers would come in, and so from that culture, in terms of like my grandfather and my uncle, my dad, my uncles, they all worked there. So when we started this, when my grandfather's business up the road, yeah, they shipped a lot of stuff and they sold a lot of it to wholesalers. Well, we also knew that there was this huge customer base here where we're at that would buy directly for us, where you don't have to discount your stuff heavily to sell it all, where you're kind of directly going right into your marketplace. So we're different in the sense that we're not selling, you know, really cheap wholesale prices and we're just trying to move everything at one time. We're growing a little bit more specialty crops, and we're selling it direct to consumers. And that's what kind of separated us, or has separated us for probably like the last, I would say, 30 years. To digress on it, I mean, a lot of places, the easiest comparison would be to vegetables, right? So if you're growing corn, you have to get X amount of ton out of it, right? Because you're only getting X amount of price. So I need an X amount of ton, X amount of price. There's my margin. Just sell it all. Just grow it and sell it. Well, when the South American products started coming in here heavy, which would be in like the 80s and 90s, before my time, but I'm still well versed in it. So they started bringing in all kinds of cheap product. Well, all of a sudden it starts to just eliminate the price that you were getting, right? Because they don't pay nothing for labor. They get to cheat. Our rules they don't have there, so they can spray whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. It's that sort of system. So the places that didn't adjust to that sort of climate, most of them are no longer in business. So you can't be saying, oh, I get 30 cents a stem for roses and just sell them all. You just can't do it, especially not in California. So we kind of went the opposite route and said, well, let's grow the stuff that has bigger heads, better colors. And maybe there's less production, but I can get a better price for it. So we went with different varieties, better colors, better choices for the customer, but they also come at a cost, right? So I take these are all garden roses. So the reason that garden roses are more expensive than standard hybrid teas is these produce, anywhere from 20 to 40% less a year than my hybrid teas do. But I also get probably 2.5 times as much for them because they're a little bit more specialty. They're in demand. They're people. So we went towards that sort of stuff over time and doing the hydroponic system. Everything used to be in ground. So having that direct outlet into the market and directly to the consumer, directly to the florist, the person who was using it, we had a better kind of a sense of where we needed to go with the business. If that kind of all clips around together.
Thank you to those who made Season 1